What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Skady. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Isis. His name is Kimo. This is going to be a special one, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last game in the group stages for, I believe, the Artemis division. It might be the Osiris division. I get them confused in my brain because there's just so many games to get through. I believe this is the Artemis division. This is the last game, and this is deciding quite a bit with the end results of the standings in this group. For those of you playing at home, counting everyone's wins and losses up as you go along, well, let me illustrate it for you. If Skady loses, Skady will not be in the top 4, which is a very, very surprising thing to be saying. If Skady loses, which means Kimo wins, Kimo will be number 1 in the group. Those are the differences. If Kimo loses and Skady wins, Kimo will drop to 4th place. Skady will become 2nd. And Matrius and Yoshi will be 1st and 3rd, respectively. So this series matters a lot for not only Skady and Kimo, but also Shadowfax. Because if Skady wins here, if Kimo wins here, Skady won't make the top 4, and Shadowfax would make the top 4. Very excited to see how this one's going to come out. We do have the map Midgard to kick things off, and we've got Kimo going in with the tried and true Isis here. I am genuinely surprised to see... I'm not surprised to see the Isis, but I am surprised to see Kimo going in with the Isis, given all of the almost innovations and success that we've been seeing from several different gods on this map, as this villager is unfortunately stuck on this berry bush. You're going to have to fix that one up. That's not going to be showing up as idle there. Skady with the Zeus on this map. Personally, I feel like Zeus, I feel like Poseidon for the Greek gods are going to have the most success in this map for the Greek gods. So definitely Zeus makes a lot of sense. Zeus also covers a weakness that Poseidon can't really cover against Norse, which means like if Zeus wants to, Zeus can go for an Athena rush against Norse and against Atlantean and find a very, very successful game there if that's one of the strategies that Zeus wants to go for. But against Isis, the strategies become very, I wouldn't say stale, but it's almost solved to some degree. Now, when I say solved, I mean overall, the strategy, the idea is solved in that there's one best way to play, strategically speaking. The way that you actually get around there and all the extra things you can do shape certain differences in this matchup. So when I say it's solved, well, going for an Athena rush against an Isis, not really going to be working out all too well most of the time for the Zeus because of that monument protection under the town center, because of the axeman spammage capabilities, because of the scouting potential of both the Sphinx and the Priest in the early classical age. You're not going to be able to get away with that sort of an opening from the Zeus 9 times out of 10. It's been done. It has had success, but the days of the Athena rush against Egyptians on this map are pretty much over, which means 2 other strategies remaining: fast second town center on this map, or a semi-fast heroic on the water. Now, we are seeing a very, very aggressive dock up here from Skady. He is going incredibly aggressive with these docks. He's going to get this dock up as well as Kimo sending a villager over here. It's absolutely wild. So this changes everything, in my opinion, as to how this game is going to go. He's stealing away fishing spots from Kimo to boot here, as Kimo's trying to get his own docks up, putting these fishing ships down. So normally, this is very different than what I would have expected. We'll see how it's going to go for Skady, but the general consensus here is that the second town center play from Greek doesn't really work against the Isis fast heroic or semi-fast heroic in this map. So you have to go for a semi-fast heroic yourself, finding the advantages with the Skylar on the water and all of the extra strong Hippocon you get. We are seeing Athena coming through, though, for Skady, which I think might be a slight misplay. Having the ceasefire is kind of important here, but not only that, having access to Spirited Charge helps out a lot against the Isis on this matchup as well. So we'll see how it's all going to go as both players pushing in. Skady's got 20 fishing ships already out, and he is well and truly on the way to the classical age. Both players around about 5:30 into this advanced time. Maybe Kimo's 5:15-ish, but a very, very interesting start here as Kimo's empowering his gold mine as well, which is a bit strange. Normally you see the wood lines getting empowered. With the docks being so far forward, this means that defensive capabilities of the Egyptian player become much, much worse here, because the cabinet's popping out. There's going to be a dock here to help under this position as well. So we'll see how it's all going to go as Skady's got the resources here to start his trireme. He's going to get himself Persane straight away as well. Doesn't quite have the resources for it after starting those trireme up. So we'll see what his decisions are going to be as Pickaxe comes through as well, with the cabinet starting to snipe down some fishing ships here. Skady will have to retreat away, and this is a very, very rare game we're going to be seeing here as the Sphinx does get sniped by the bolt of Skady. As Skady has to pull back for the time being. Those cabinets here going to be harassing those fishing ships. One of the big advantages of the cabinet is that they get an extra bonus 50% damage versus fishing ships. So you got to be very, very careful with them as Kimo slowly pushing out. Kimo does have 14 fishing ships himself at this point, as Skady pulling back here. 6 trireme versus 6 cabinets, 7 cabinets versus 3 trireme. Full advantage here for Kimo as he pushes forward. More trireme coming out here for Skady as well, as the Minotaur pushing in to take the dock down, as Kimo turn around, continuing to harass the Skady ships here. Now, Skady at this point, he is going heavy onto wood. Now, this is something personally I don't recommend. What it means is you're going to be very, very high in ship counts as opposed to your opponent, but your food count is not going to be able to be spent. You're going to sit here with so much food that you just don't have anything to do with it. This is why I prefer, generally speaking, to put villagers onto gold when I hit the classical age, and I just play defensively. But Skady is wanting to play offensively on the water at this point to shake things up. And Kimo, because he's only got the 14 fishing ships, is getting harassed over both sides of the map here. He doesn't actually have the food he probably should have at this point to be advancing to the heroic age, which will be a huge advantage at this point here. As the cabinet pushing through on this position, Skady going to be utilizing his restoration to attempt to win this fight here, as Kimo has to micro this one to the best of his abilities, but he's still fighting underneath the dock of Skady. Same too is Skady fighting underneath the dock of Kimo, as both players retreating back at this moment. It looks like it's a very, very equal number of ships for both players. In fact, it looks like Skady is coming out in front here as Kimo has to pull back, and we'll have to see if Kimo decides to do something a little bit different after all is said and done, as he's got all the wood villages over here. He's getting everything that he needs to continue in this game. The Minotaur is about to be finishing up this dock as well, as the micro is still very, very high level here from Skady. Full focus on that one. You can see the food is starting to pick up here quite severely. And what is Skady going to be doing with that is the big question. There's nothing you can do with it is the answer here. So he's just sitting with and going to have tons of food after all is said and done. As now he's starting to put villagers over onto gold, wanting to get that 500 gold to get to the next age, or potentially chucking down second town centers and things like that as well. As Kimo's still managing to defend here. He's starting to get the archer ship numbers in his favor as well. The other thing that Kimo could do, and obviously he hasn't worked that one out because he hasn't scouted down the bottom side of the map, as we do see a prosperity getting utilized there by Kimo. How many villagers on the gold at this point? He's only got 9 villagers on the gold with the Pharaoh moving over. But Kimo could definitely be sending a fishing ship off to the right side of the map to put some docks down there as well, as there's probably some fish over there. In fact, we can check. There's a little bit onto that side as well. But we'll see how it's all going to go as Kimo's micro here. Very, very strong. Same too for Skady, though, pulling the ships back. But it looks like Kimo has got the advantage at this point, as that dock is now at 150 HP. The Minotaur is at full HP. We'll be able to take the dock down on this position. Nice play from Skady to finally take that one out, as the Minotaur going to get shot down. As we see the fishing ship immediately trying to put the dock back up by itself there. We'll see if that's going to be a possibility, as Skady retreating back for the time being. Is he still building himself archer ships? Yes, he is. They're still coming out. He's got a ton of archer ships over here. He can easily drop out here and try and harass the fishing ships. It's an interesting idea to put that forward dock down and then just go for like archer ship harass by garrisoning into the dock and then popping out with 3 or 4 trireme to harass fishing ships throughout the game. Could be a great idea. But Kimo at this point, he's going to continue moving forward, searching around to try and take out Skady's fishing ship. Skady at this point can drop a second town center. He's going for it right now. We'll see if that's going to work out for him. He can also drop an armory and get himself to the heroic age relatively quickly after all is said and done, as these trireme do pop out. Going to be sniping some cabinets here for free. Nice play from Skady as he brings the triremes back, as Kimo's cabinets very much out of position here, looking for some fishing ships to take out on this position. But a very, very interesting game coming through. One of the big advantages of grabbing this town center for Skady is that he gets this gold mine back here, which makes it a little bit easier for him to hold on to. Plus, there's these walrus here if he finds himself running out of food as the cabinets come through. Going to snipe some fishing ships. Good micro there, or awareness from Skady to drop into the dock on that position as well. As we see the cabinet's still pushing in. The trireme for Skady going into Kimo's base here as well. Going to be taking out some fishing ships of Kimo. Kimo going to have to deal with this a little bit better than he is at this point, as both players taking out each other's economy should actually go in the benefit of Skady, because he's had more fishing ships, so he will have more food, which means he will be able to get to that heroic age and also pump more villagers out of his town centers. As we see the Jason looking around for some harassment in the main base of Kimo, but Kimo's got those free watchtowers. Should be more than possible for him to defend that. Meanwhile, Kimo moving over onto this gold mine here. Skady does scout that out, so he might want to drop, and he has already dropped the stable, but going up through Dionysus here, putting some villagers onto the temple and getting himself Thracian horses and heavy cavalry might be enough for him to start getting that gold starve. Alternatively, making sure this town center doesn't go the wayside of Kimo here in this game without the use of Ancestors Eclipse would be a really, really big way to play, as we do see the cabinets moving around this location. They see all of these vacant fishing spots that he could potentially move forward and take, as it does look like Kimo has secured the water for the time being. Does he have an armory up? He does have the armory up. He's got the resources to advance to the heroic age. Nephthys is probably the only option at this point, as he does click up Nephthys. You wouldn't want to go for Hathor here in this position, because you don't really have the favor to pump those Pitsukos out in any serious manner. And while Eclipse and Pitsukos are relatively strong, you really want that Ancestors Eclipse here. As the villagers in this position grabbing the Walrus here as well. Hippocon starting to come out for Skady. Feel like Skady has delayed this heroic age far too long here, as the villagers moving over onto this gold mine on this position here to try and hold that. The cabinet's coming back in here as well, as Skady dragging his fishing ships back in. We do see one fishing ship has been taken out. Skady must have misclicked there, losing tons of fishing ships at this point. Huge raid there for Kimo, as he's going to try and take down the dock on this position as well, as Skady is kind of had to give up on water to some degree. He can always come back with the Skylar, but it's a big investment after all is said and done. As the cabinet moving up to this position as well, just making sure nothing's coming out of here. One of the big advantages of the cabinet and the trireme and the bareme over, say, like the Norse longboat, is they do have that 6.0 speed, which means if you're not too close to the docks, you can move by them without taking any damage. As we're still seeing Skady continuing to put pressure onto those fishing ships, with the Hippocon coming in onto this position here. Kimo might have to utilize the Ancestors Eclipse to hold onto this position, but there's not a whole lot of effort here from Skady to push in here and try and pick off these villagers. But the trireme are getting tons of damage done onto the villagers here, as he's trying to villager fight back that Minotaur. He snipes it down, but that's tons of villagers falling on this position, as the Leviathan coming through to help defend the position. The Scorpion Men coming through to take out some of those Hippocon, as the Odysseus is here to try and deal with that Scorpion Men. But Skady still in the classical age at this point. We see the Ancestors getting dropped here to try and defend this location on the water. A very, very rare usage. He's going to be able to take out those trireme relatively easily here. Skady should just retreat away from them. They both move at 6.0 speed, and he can retreat fairly easily, but Kimo is going to take out all those trireme. He's going to be able to potentially take out the dock on this position as well, especially with the help of that Leviathan. There's more cabinets coming through here, but Skady's going to be really, really happy about that. Ancestor's Eclipse not being utilized to get any sort of middle pressure, no town center being secured. All of the advantages of the ISIS kind of flushed down the drain with that usage there, but Kimo secures his fish. He's taken out Skady's fish as well, so he does have a very, very strong economy going. However, Skady at this point has managed to find himself with 65 villages at this point in the game and is going to be able to advance to that next age. The question is, does he go through Apollo or Dionysus at this point? I think that the Dionysus might be a little bit more useful here, but actually Skady deciding to go for what looks to be a third town center instead of the heroic age. He is playing it very, very greedily, if you ask me. Grabbing this town center is going to be getting put into a position where Kimo's tech should be able to pull him through here. But then again, Skady, with all the economy that he's already got, I feel like he should be able to get to the heroic age relatively fast nonetheless. So maybe there's no problems with this, just getting the town center up and being in a decent position after all is said and done. As the cabinet on this position here are getting taken out by that dock. Skady can also rebuild these fish if he so chooses, as he's continuing to take fishing ship out. He doesn't even care about the trireme on this position, just happily going after fishing ships here, as Kimo is not managing to micro the fishing ships into the docks fast enough here to keep them alive. Going to have to rebuild those, as he does immediately queue them up. Look at the wood at the moment here for Kimo. So much wood there, as the Migdol in the center of the map going to be going up, attempting to secure this town center and this gold mine in the center here. I like that play. Dionysus is the god of choice here for Skady, but he's only got 2 military buildings at this point. He's going to need to throw down probably around about 10 more, in all honesty, plus get himself a ton of economic or military upgrades here to start competing with the Kimo units that are going to be coming for him. Kimo's also got the ability to spam out tons of siege and chariot archers as this game is going to continue. As the chariot archers start, heavy chariots also going to be coming through here as the units pushing in to start getting a little bit of harassed. But with the spearmen on this position, Skady going to have to retreat back. Military academy going down as well here for Skady. There's more military buildings coming through. The archer ships getting pushed back as the Kimo archer ships looking forward. We do see a war barge here as well. As where did the Skylar go for? Or the Skylar obviously not through yet. He's got 90% left. The Hydra, however, there are some deer he can take out, though most of them are being hunted, so he's not going to be able to get full advantage of just picking off some animals to get himself those extra heads, as the cabinet's coming back in here to snipe down some more fishing ships. Nice marker there from Skady to pull into the dock, but the villagers on this position very much open here if Kimo pays attention to that location, as we see the villagers trying to push through to grab this town center, but Skady says no, not today. Skady's also got 144 of 145 population. He can bronze his army here and push through very simply, as the Odysseus is in position to target down the Scorpion Man. There is still Eclipse, however, for Kimo, but again, Eclipse is with Isis is only really good because of Ancestor's Eclipse. But if you get enough myth units, you can make it work nicely. The idea of maybe you can make mummies in the Mythic Age, 3 mummies with Eclipse, you can kind of get a fake Ancestor's Eclipse a little bit later, as we do see the town center getting thrown up by Skady, but Kimo says, no, not today, sir. Not today, indeed. As the unit's getting cleaned up here, is the heavy chariots doing a nice job on this position. Is Skady going to move over here and attempt to take these villagers out to get that town center up? We do still have that bronze, but there's just not that many units here, as Skady needs more military production at this point to hold on here. As the Scorpion Man does go down, the Hydra here, nearly picked off as well without even a head just yet. being spawned as we see a fortress getting thrown down on this position. I like that play, keeping an eye on the town center and holding here nicely as the Hydra getting even more heads. Now 2 heads is going to start taking down the villagers on this position and potentially get even more of those heads. He has to make sure he gets the killing blow, however, with the Hydra as the Hoplite does steal that one. Meanwhile, raids onto the fishing ships still continuing through here, as Skady not paying attention all too well to that one there. We do see a dock coming up on this position yet again by Skady. He can start making some hammer ships over there. Nice plays, just trying to continue getting the pressure in as the siege tower attempting to come through and stop that fortress. But the fortress is now up. The fortress can now start targeting down that town center and basically keep it down for good here. Or even a Petropolis coming in into this position here. It'd be very, very safe with another wall as the villagers coming through yet again to prevent the town center from going up, as the Hydra with 3 heads, too much for these villagers. As it's now 132 of 136 population. Skady at 80 villagers. Kimo technically here, he's at... I can't do math, but 90 villagers-ish, so with the 20 fishing ships. So it's relatively equal in terms of villagers, you'd have to say, at this point. But villagers are still falling here for Kimo, with the Hydra getting even more scary. 129 HP as it finally gets sniped down there by the heavy chariots. We see the bronze getting dropped down. Heavy Hippocon has come through. No effort into the Thracian horses just yet by Skady. He's got the 65 favor to make that happen if he so chooses. He can also make out a whole bunch of those Skylar, which he's making Pentaconta here. As one Skylar comes out, that's going to be a lot of economic damage onto Kimo's fishing ships over there as well. As the unit's still moving into this meat grinder, they don't really have any Pierce upgrades just yet, and neither... Well, Kimo's got himself Pierce upgrades, but he doesn't have the more vitally important armor upgrades here to help not only his spearmen against the Hippocon, but also the chariot archers against the Hippocon can be a very, very big deal, as we do see Copper Mail now coming through for Kimo, and that's going to help him out quite a bit. But he's at this point only at 118, 146 population. The Greek army is so absurdly strong at this point in the game versus the Egyptian army, especially Isis and Set without the extra boost from the Ra hit points and damage that you can potentially get, which makes these Hippocon just stay alive forever against this army. As adds of wet Bowsaw coming through for Kimo as well. Toxody's starting to come in to help out in this meat grinder situation, and Skady can start thinking about getting this town center as well. He's got the market up over here as the ship's still searching around. Skady got to be a little bit more active with these units. That Skylar can start taking down the docks there really fast. One of the big advantages of the Skylar and the Hydra, which kind of goes unnoticed, is that they have 10 crush damage. So once you have 4 or 5 heads, 40 crush damage, 50 crush damage, plus the hack damage that gets doubled per head, not, well, added 100% per head. You get so much damage onto everything, as the fishing ships here still getting taken down as Kimo micros back into the dock. But I mean, if Skady wants, he can just take that out, and it would be very, very simple for him. Bronze weapons coming through for Kimo as well, which is going to start helping him hold onto this position. But getting those armor upgrades does slow down any sort of potential mythic age, which does play into the Zeus game plan at this point, because you don't have to deal with the Son of Osiris, you don't have to deal with anything too difficult here, as the unit's still pushing through. Toxody's starting to get some good damage done, but still no armory upgrades here for Skady. Skady now getting himself that Thracian horses to keep his Hippocon alive even better, sitting at 187 HP. They got up to 200 and I want to say 17 HP, but I'm not exactly sure. But it's so much extra hit points coming through from that one, as the units here for Kimo slowly falling. He's fighting down so much population here, and in that moment, Kimo does decide to tap out, as Skady plays this one incredibly differently than normal here. He goes for an incredibly aggressive play, moving forward with these docks, puts so much pressure onto Kimo, and Kimo just could not work it out in the game that he needed to kind of react and move down and steal these fishing ship spots for himself in this position, give himself that extra food to get to the heroic gauge a little bit faster, get himself everything that he needs to defend a little bit easier. He just and then he can't get any value really out of the ancestors either in this game, and he kind of throws away the big advantage of playing Isis on this map. But Skady shows, you know what? This map and water maps in general, they aren't a free win for Isis by any stretch of the imagination. Isis is is a god of the past in a lot in a lot of ways. Given the nerf to the mercenary, I don't even know what else has been nerfed. The Pharaoh nerf, so many problems for Isis to overcome now, in that pretty much everything that makes Isis good and usable is her timing attacks. You have to go for some sort of a timing attack. If you don't, life can be really, really tough. Funnily enough, when you see these docks getting placed up here by Skady, in hindsight, it might be a possibility here to just go for a land rush onto Skady, because you kind of know he's going to be pumping out all those units, and you can rush into the main base. You get yourself out a couple of potential war barges to hold onto the water. If he doesn't overcommit, you can put the war barges out. If he does overcommit, you just go for a land rush, potentially even priest siege here to be as cheap as possible. Can start taking out this base, Ancestors Eclipse, and all the good stuff. Get a gold starve as an option. But Kimo just kind of played with no plan here and couldn't work it out at the moment. And Skady gets the dub, leading 1-0 in this best of 3 series. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.